But let me ask you this. What did you do on Labor Day weekend? Did you spend time with your family, enjoy a cookout with friends? Not Kim Davis. The Christian County clerk from Kentucky spent her Labor Day behind bars after refusing to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. Now her lawyers have filed another appeal in hopes of setting her free. And some critics of the decision are saying, why is she in jail at all?
Supporters of Kim Davis are holding a rally on her behalf today, and presidential candidate Mike Huckabee will be there. Charlene Aaron has the story.
Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis spent Labor Day weekend behind bars as hundreds of supporters rallied outside the detention center where she is being held. Davis was jailed for refusing to issue marriage licenses to gay couples because it goes against her deeply held Christian beliefs. There is growing pressure for her to back down, even from some on the right. But the Christian clerk offered a tear-filled message for her supporters Monday, saying God did not give us the spirit of fear, but of power and love and self-control. Davis's legal team has filed a second appeal to the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals.
She has no intention of stepping down because she loves her people and loves the job.
They're asking that the state of Kentucky accommodate her beliefs by simply removing her name and title from marriage certificates.
This accommodation would cost the taxpayers nothing. You change the form and amend the statute.
Her lawyers suggest Kentucky Governor Steve Beshear could issue an executive order to solve the problem. But his office said that he wouldn't respond, saying the case was a matter between Davis and the courts.
Yet many are still asking, should she even be in jail? Couldn't some other way have been found?
In an article in the Wall Street Journal, William McGurn wrote, "Is clapping this woman in jail really the only solution?" Conservatives are outraged over Davis's imprisonment.
So when is it that liberals get to choose which laws they support, but a county clerk in Kentucky who, acting on her Christian faith, is criminalized, jailed without bail?
Presidential candidate Mike Huckabee is visiting Davis in jail and hosting a rally in support of her today. CBN News will have a report on the rally on Wednesday's 700 Club. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Thanks, Charlene. It is a shocking thing. You know, there have been other instances where people did not follow laws. They have laws having to do with equal access. They had a Defense of Marriage Act, by the way, where these things were forbidden, where there was a marriage was between a man and a woman, and people violated that. And in a sense, this judge is acting beyond any reasonable mandate that he has. And all he's got to do is say, we have to make accommodation for the religious beliefs of people. Therefore, this Miss Davis doesn't want to perform marriages. We'll find a clerk that will. It's just that simple. It isn't that these guys can't get married. It's just that they want to put that woman under lock and key. It's wrong. It's wrong to criminalize actions that you disagree with. And that's what the liberals love to do. Well, in other news, the immigration crisis in Europe is exploding, with thousands of refugees pouring into European countries. John Jessup has that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. Here's John.
That's right, Pat. And those European nations are struggling to keep up with the thousands of migrants flooding through their borders every day. Hungary, a main access point to the European Union, wants to speed up construction of a fence on the southern border with Serbia. And while some EU nations have pledged to take in more refugees, the influx is simply outpacing those pledges.
It's on biblical proportions. The people are coming quicker than we can load them.
Hungary has seen clashes at its border between police and refugees. Germany is expecting to take 800,000 refugees by the end of the year, while France and Great Britain have pledged to take tens of thousands more. But British Prime Minister David Cameron stresses the need to deal with the source of the crisis.
That means helping to stabilize countries where the refugees are coming from, seeking a solution to the crisis in Syria.
Some lawmakers want the Obama administration to allow more Syrian refugees into the United States, increasing the number to 65,000 next year. Well, Israel is also taking in immigrants of a totally different kind, as more Jewish Americans are immigrating to make Israel their permanent home. Chris Mitchell brings us that story from Tel Aviv.
Seeing Jewish people return to Israel is like watching Bible prophecy unfold before your eyes. Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel all speak of the Jewish return to the land. As part of that biblical prophecy, 232 immigrants from North America landed at Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion Airport to make Israel their new home. Jewish Agency Chairman Natan Sharansky and government officials welcomed the group.
Only think for a moment, each of you, about your fathers, your grandfathers, your great-grandfathers, all those generations of your families, of Jews who were dreaming and praying next year in Jerusalem. And you did it.
19-year-old Max Kresh came from Detroit. He's one of 59 newcomers joining the Israel Defense Forces as a lone soldier or one without any family here.
I came to yeshiva last year. I studied in yeshiva. And being in Israel, learning in Israel, and living in Israel influenced me, and it made me realize how much I really love being here.
Almost 30 families with 75 children make up this group of new immigrants. They include Lisa and David Parshan, along with 2 children.
It was really nice to watch people just like us coming off. They're all jet lagged, but with a smile on their face. It was a really very exciting experience.
Their older daughter Shira paved the way 2 years ago.
You know, Mashiach is coming, and I knew that Israel is the place to be, and I made Aliyah when I was 17 years old.
This group arrived on an El Al flight chartered by Nefesh B'Nefesh. The organization partners with the government to help North American and British Jews make Aliyah and adjust to life here.
I just think that every Jew should be struggling with the issue of the Jewish homeland, and that's not just a slogan, but it's rather an opportunity.
Since 2002, the group has brought about 45,000 immigrants from the U.S., Canada, and England. Co-founder Rabbi Yehoshua Fass explained why they come.
You don't want the immigration from America to be an aliyah of a wave of necessity, of running away from something, of distress, duress, persecution. You don't want that. The beauty of North American immigration is that people are choosing.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Thanks, Chris. Pat, 45,000 from America, Canada, and England. That's no small number.
I met some years ago with Shimon Peres when he was prime minister, and he said that he was in a meeting with Couve de Merville, who was the foreign minister of France, and he said he and de Gaulle were meeting with David Ben Gurion, and de Gaulle said, look, Mr. Prime Minister, what do you want? What do you want? Another port? You want some more money? You want armed forces? What do you want? And Ben Gurion looked at him and said, I want more Jews. And he said, Couve, listen to this. He wants more Jews. Well, they're getting them, 40,000 more. And that's the strength of a country, though, to have immigrants. There's nothing wrong with it. We're a nation of immigrants. The immigrants have made us strong. The question is, you have to have an intelligent policy. You have to have a place for them. You have to have jobs for them. You have to have some place to settle them. You just can't bring them in. That's what's happening in Europe. I was reading a column today that compared the difference of the philosophy between Immanuel Kant and also Thomas Hobbes. And Hobbes said, sure, you can have all these things, but you need military force to control it. And Kant says, oh, you just come on in. Well, no, you can't. You can't have Kant. We've put that in effect in our borders, and where it's chaos. Just absolute chaos, and it's burdening down the social fabric of our nation. Well, instead of forcing this, you have to have control, and that takes military force, and our president is reluctant to use it. John?
Pat, here at home, in today's edition of Family Entertainment News, movie-going audiences have proven there's a strong market for faith-based films. And this weekend, another major box office opening based on a best-selling book about a man who died and came back from heaven. Angela Zadapak brings us that story.
Curiosity about the afterlife seems stronger than ever in books, TV, and the movies. Hollywood took notice after the film Heaven is for Real brought in more than $100 million at the box office. Now it hopes theatergoers want more.
Selling over 7 million copies and translated into 46 different languages,
Don Piper wrote on his experience after death in his book, 90 Minutes in Heaven. 26 years later, this modern-day Lazarus story comes to life on the big screen.
Every day of my life, I ask the same question. Oh, Lord, why'd you let me see heaven? And take it away.
Actor Hayden Christensen from Star Wars plays Don.
I hope that people will leave this film feeling uplifted and feeling better about life, as I did, when I put down the script the first time.
Kate Bosworth, seen in Superman Returns, plays his wife, Eva, who Piper calls the real hero because she kept the family together.
This is one of those stories that has the possibility of changing people's lives.
E! News' Jason Kennedy also appears in the film as Don's best friend.
People need to know that there is more to life than just what's happening right here.
The film shows how a head-on collision changed Piper's life forever. His body mangled, emergency workers declared him dead shortly after getting to the scene. As Christian pastor Dick Honorecker passed the wreckage, he felt led by God to stop and pray for Don. As Honorecker called out to God inside the car, Piper suddenly started singing and came back to life. A total of 90 minutes had elapsed. During that time, he says he visited heaven.
I saw colors I've never seen before. I heard the music, thousands of songs at the same time with that chaos. Only one song distinguished itself among all of those, and that was Holy, Holy, Holy.
The film releases September 11th, showing the power of prayer and the miracle that has touched hearts around the world.
Through his plan, I discovered my purpose is to tell you. God still answers prayers. God still performs miracles. Heaven is real.
Angela Zatopek, CBN News.
Timely release on September 11th for such an inspirational film. Wendy, back to you.
John, if the movie's anything like the real life story, it's going to be incredible. Thanks.